Welcome to the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. Discover less and enjoy our holistic resources. Join us weekly on Wednesdays for our live talk show discussing the topics central to maintaining the holistic lifestyle you want. Each week we bring on leaders, product providers, and educators to enlighten and empower your natural journey in wellness. Let us begin.
Welcome to another fabulous Wellness Wednesday here, broadcasting live on Interlight Radio, known as the Healing Frequency. This is the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show, and we try to give it to you straight each and every week with great information, great guests, and we just like to share it with you. The call-in number, we are live, is 310-928-7733. Once again, 310-928-7733. Now, our Facebook page is Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. Once again, Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. Website is createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Dr. Rabb, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I had to cut short my friend. I hadn't heard from him in a long time. He happened to call me kind of late, and I was trying to get off so I could get on right, and that's why I had to line up again. So anyway, I made it back on.
You got a lot of friends, Doc.
Yeah.
When you're helping people, you grow up, you've seen a lot of the world, so that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Now you're doing
you
this
pick
today.
Back up with that person. I'm doing all right. I got a few issues, I'm working through them.
Okay, well, we all got some issues.
Yes, sir. Well, we're going to talk about it real shortly. I'm going to share mine with you.
Okay.
Dr. Franc, how you doing?
I am doing very well. I guess it's one of those days for connecting with people. You connected with a chiropractor I used to work with and hadn't seen since 2013, and we were just chatting and catching up, and we were just kind of saying, I think right now with the state of the world, everybody is really recognizing how much friends and family are really important, and kind of just saying, okay, enough with killing myself about work. It's time to put the important things first, and that's friends and family. So yeah, it was lovely to catch up with him. He's an amazing man.
It'd be interesting. I think people would find out what it actually costs them to live, I think once they run the numbers, I think they'd be shocked.
I think people now are starting
time for themselves.
Yeah, I think people are starting to realize the cost of, or what it's costing them to not live. Like, they've just been running this rat race, and, this chiropractor that I was talking to, incredibly successful, had a multidisciplinary clinic. He had naturopaths and, other chiropractors and, I think other chiropractors. And then he had massage therapists, so many people working for him that he supported. And he just got to the point where he was like, well, this isn't quality of life anymore. And, I've got to make a decision about, yes, all this money is coming in and there's a lot of success, and that's great, but what does success really mean to me? And am I really living? And what are the important things? So, he's following his path.
It's easy to live inside your head,
Yeah.
It's easy to do that. I mean, it's not until you really have a shake-up in your life that you start to value like a sickness or an ailment or death in the family, that you really get a chance to evaluate things. My whole thing is I really figured out how I'm going to get through it all and do what I need to do. I just have to get angry.
Are you like the Incredible Hulk?
I mean, you know what? I was talking to Dr. Mick Hall, and, he's going to be on the show next month, and he kind of smacked me around a little bit, because I didn't do some of the things that I needed to do, And he says, the different thing about you this time is you sound angry and you sound determined. So I think you're going to go through it all, And when we have him on, he's a great guy. But I think really people have to get kind of angry first and then evaluate what they're angry about and then come out of the anger and live. But it's to that point where you had enough, I think, that you really don't make the changes. I just sort of think what it is. And I know in AAA they call it hitting your bottom,
Well, and here's hoping that there are a lot of people out there that just don't have to reach rock bottom before they can say, you know what, I really want to reevaluate what quality of life means to me. And
well, in this fast-paced life, I think most of the people have to, because they got so many other things influencing them.
mm-hmm.
You got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, work. Somebody you want to date, someone you are dating, someone you're dating on the side, someone you're married to. You got so many things that influence you to that point. I think that changes a lot of people, and you really have to sit down and go, okay, this is enough. What do you think, Dr. Rabb?
Right now, the major issue in my life is to get my vision straightened out. Mm-hmm. I'm serious with that, because I still have my products I manufacture here, but I had to have one of my really best friends, I would say, one of his sons comes and actually does the capsulations for me, because I used to do all that stuff myself. But I'm a blessed individual, because there are people that help me on a daily basis with whatever I need, and take care of health, because I can't see well at this point. I mean, I can see, but I can't. Macular D in the right eye, and cataract in the left, and whatever. So, but they're taking care of all of the stuff, my letters that I'd have to take half a day to try to read them. So I'm a blessed individual, period. I'm blessed. There are people who are willing to help me because of what I've done moving through these spaces.
For the years, and what you've done for them.
Well, and I don't know if you have looked into, for the cataracts and for eye health, certainly not the macular degeneration, but there was an article that popped up that mentioned that castor oil might be helpful and is something that some of the optometrists have used in the past. Now, I don't know anything about it. I have to do more research on that aspect. There are other things that I've used, but it's worth looking into and doing some research on, because I know how much you love, just the going back to basics and the natural remedies.
I used to hate that stuff. My mom used to force me to take them when we were young.
Okay, but you don't understand.
Cod liver oil, my goodness.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Jamaican black castor oil. I have just discovered this, and I was like, I'm now in love with it. And I'm not one of those people who is like, okay, this product is great for everything. As soon as someone says, oh, this product cures everything, this, that, and the other, I get really skeptical. But this stuff, the Jamaican black castor oil, they roast the beans first before they crush them. So it's black and tarry. It looks very different than the regular castor oil. And for skin and hair and anti-aging, I'm hooked. That stuff is.
Put that link in the comment section on the post for Johnathan.
My mother used to, when I was a kid, a little boy, and we had cold or something, castor oil was one of the things she would pull out, and I hated it. But if it helps something,
it would be topically, not internally.
I don't know. But
please don't take it internally. That's awful.
We used to put it in the mouth. We had that, and what was it, syrup of black draft. I mean, it was because I grew up in the country way back. This was in the 40s and 50s. We had all kinds of remedies that right there at home remedies. I mean, truly home remedies, but she kept us well. Yep,
they work. But I would say, castor oil, I would agree with you. Do not do that internally. I don't recommend that to any of my patients. Yes, it can cause you to go to the bathroom, but the cramps are horrific. And yes, it can bring on labor if you're pregnant, but the cramps of the labor are horrific. Just don't do it. There's so many other things you can do. So I don't recommend it internally. But topically, wow, that stuff is, I'm really impressed.
Put that link on there for us. Okay.
Now, one other question.
Go ahead.
Now, the castor oil, when you mentioned it was they were using that in the eye.
Apparently, I was doing some research on castor oil because when I tried the Jamaican black castor oil, as I said, I got hooked because I saw these amazing results. I was like, okay, I got to find out more about this stuff and what makes it different from regular castor oil and what the properties are. I kind of geeked out on that. And so I came across a couple of articles where they were actually using castor oil in the eye to treat cataracts. Now, I've gotten some of the Jamaican black castor oil in my eye, and it really stung. So I don't know if the castor oil is any different, but it's worth looking into and seeing. Just
Absolutely.
do the research. Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Right.
are welcome.
Okay, so today's topic we're going to be talking about are the 9 worst foods to eat. And this comes from Dr. Jockers, drjockers.com, drjockers.com. All right, so this is, if you feel like healthy eating gets more complicated every day, I feel you. Paleo vegan, low carb, high fat, organic, and endless list of dietary terms can make it difficult to even begin eating healthy. Experiencing this feedback from my patients and followers for years, I completely understand where you're coming from. Here are 9 of the worst foods to eat and healthy alternatives to swap them for. So they're saying that the 9 worst foods to eat, and never eat them, are table salt, processed meat, artificial sweeteners, vegetable oil, microwave popcorn, margarine, soy protein, isolate and other unrefined soy products, non-organic potatoes and other fresh produce known for high pesticide contamination. And the last is canned tomatoes, okay?
Yep.
Nope,
Yep.
they're the worst.
I
Okay.
agree with all of them.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about these 9 here real quickly. Table salt. Feedback.
Very bad.
Totally agree.
Very bad.
It's bleached, and I don't think bleaching is. Like, I don't want to have anything that's bleached in my system. I'm sorry.
Yeah, some ladies do bleaching. I told them they should never do that.
Well, bleaching of teeth, yeah, like they're different.
It's more
things,
bleaching than that.
Yeah. and how are you meeting and talking to these ladies? How do they know?
Well, you know, you got to see what they spend their money on, because some ladies, they look like a big accounts payable, so you got to know what you're getting into.
You're such a deviant. I love it.
All right, processed meat. I heard, I don't know this to be true, I heard that they use some kind of meat color in this processing of the meat.
Not only meat color, like meat dyes, they can use meat glue to glue together different places. In deli meats, there's nitrites, which the World Health Organization has said this is carcinogenic. It's going to cause cancer. And then you have different binders and fillers. You have sugars. You have gluten. It's just awful what they put in a lot of those products. So if you go to a butcher where, you actually can talk to a butcher who is using organic meats and making them themselves, and they're not using the sugar and the dyes and the chemicals and the nitrites, and, then okay, but you can also just buy shaved turkey breast or chicken breast or roast beef. So that's, there's lots of good things that you can do that way.
Okay, artificial sweeteners.
Absolutely.
So sugars. Certain brown sugars?
All sugar.
All sugar.
For me, I tell
cane sugar.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. For me, I tell my patients, okay, sugar, you might as well substitute it with cocaine. The word cocaine. This is how you'll know. You'll start to play little mental games with yourself, right? So we know that with respect to addiction, fat, salt, and sugar together are the magic addiction formulation. Once you start eating it, you're just going to crave more and more. You're going to eat more of those particular foods. And we know that those 3 together are also the magic weight gain formulation and obesity formulation. Most people don't realize where these sugars are hidden within the system. So with respect to the sugar, if you want to play this game with yourself, you'll see the lies. So every time you see sugar, just substitute it for the word cocaine. So if you think about it, it only has 2 grams of sugar. That's like saying it's only 2 grams of cocaine. Oh, it's brown sugar. It's brown cocaine. Oh, it's honey or maple syrup. Okay, that's crack cocaine. You shouldn't have any of it. It suppresses your immune system. And this is the thing that gets me, because there's so many vitamin supplements out there that are on these quote-unquote lozenges, like for vitamin C and for zinc, and are supposed to be so good for, this will boost your immune system if you get a cold or a flu. Yeah, okay, it's got sugar in it. So sugar suppresses the immune system, and you're trying to take vitamin C or zinc in this lozenge form, and it's toxic for your body. It has led to obesity, cancer, cardiovascular disease, inflammation within the system, causes you to crave more. It's just awful what it does to your whole system.
And this is going to be a great show. Listen, if you're just tuning in, this is the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. We're talking about 9 foods you should never eat. I'm sure we'll get to some things that you should eat. We're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
My name is Michelle. I am the beauty boss of A More Beautiful You with Jafra Cosmetics. What is so wonderful about Jafra is that it is an essential business and fits into everyday needs for everyone in your family. Jafra offers over 500 products within 4 departments, and they are, department number 1 is our skincare department with our 5 exclusive Royal Jelly skincare lines powered by our Royal Jelly RJX technology. Number 2 is our on-trend gorgeous color and makeup line, a must-see. Number 3 is our fragrance from the world's top perfumers. And department number 4 is our body care for the entire family. Just added is our daily advanced hand sanitizers in 2 sizes. I invite you to visit my website to see more of A More Beautiful You with Jafra. My website is www.amorebeautiful-u.com. That is www.amorebeautiful-u.com. Thank you, and stay safe and well.
Hello, it's Dr. Vic. Finding the right supplement for your health can be very challenging. After years of research, I finally found the one supplement that made a difference. Fountain of Life, a Norwegian spruce extract. It's simply a game changer. Just 10 drops a day can make all of the difference. For more information, visit myopulence.com/Dr. Vic under health. That's myopulence.com/DRVIC. Fountain of Life is not a cure for any disease or ailment, but simply nature's powerful plant antioxidant. Stay well, my friends.
Welcome to the hemp industry, including new product CBD-based discoveries is here. It is a smart, organic personal care option today. Industrial hemp is one of the fastest growing segments of the wellness industry and is quickly emerging as a lucrative business opportunity for many. This emerging industry strives to create products that are designed to revolutionize the way people care for themselves. These products are well formulated to produce the finest quality of dietary supplements on the market, derived from industrial hemp containing proprietary CBD compounds that help support the body's endocannabinoid system. For more information regarding hemp, nano water soluble CBD, CBD pet care, CBD choices for your complete body, and receive your home delivery, visit The Lifestyle Store at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, The Lifestyle Store. It's at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Health is the new wealth.
That's right. Health is the new wealth. We're in the middle of, we've covered 3 of our 9 foods you should never eat. Number 3, vegetable oil.
Yeah, vegetable oil is an omega-6. When we take a look at the omega-6s, we know that there should be in our diet when we lived, when our ancestors were around, when we lived a Paleolithic lifestyle, the ratio of the omega-6s to the omega-3s were basically 4 to 1, and now they're about 20 to 1. So we get all of these omega-6s. Our vegetable oils are in everything. And number one, they're incredibly rancid because they sit on the shelf for way too long. And number two, now because they're out of balance with the omega-3s, they're actually contributing to cardiovascular disease. They actually are promoting, when we have more than a 4 to 1 ratio of our omega-6s to our omega-3s, we actually end up having a response that increases what are called our PGE2, our pro-inflammatory series. So the vegetable oils now, because they're out of balance with the omega-3s, our fish oils, for example, or our marine algae oil for people who are vegan, they're actually contributing to inflammation in the body. So cardiovascular disease, they're contributing to arthritis, they're contributing to cancers, every single chronic degenerative disease that has inflammation at its root, which basically is kind of everything.
Okay. Microwave popcorn, oddly enough.
Well, how is that odd? Have you smelt that stuff?
Hey, with or without butter?
Well, right, like the chemicals that's on that stuff. Like, and they even tell you, first of all, they even tell you, like, hey, don't have your eyes near this when you open it because it can burn. Right. And like, then the chemicals on it, and then the fact that you're eating something that has just been microwaved, and like, is that like cooking your insides as it goes down? Like, I don't even know because it's still so hot, but the chemicals are disgusting. Like, that is just not natural. What about real popcorn if you're going to do that? Like, pop it yourself. Like, and why wouldn't you use like actual real butter, like from a grass-fed, grass-finished source, or coconut oil, right? Like things that are actually healthy, because, you know, real butter, grass-fed, grass-finished butter actually has some really healthy properties. It has something called conjugated linoleic acid in it, which actually helps you lose visceral fat. So it can be a real healthy form of fat. Now, if the butter is not from cows that are happy cows and grass-fed,
I've got margarine in here, so
yeah. Oh, that's not even real food. Like, Dr. Rabb, like, how often do you have this conversation as well? Like, just eat real food. Like, just
really, because that's fake food that you're talking about there.
If you think it's butter, but it's not. It's chiffon.
Right, and like we were just having that conversation, you know, during the break, where, you know, we were talking about like, how do you put chicken, pork, and beef together and it ends up looking like steak? And then I was saying, like, well, why is when you buy that you can buy the chicken that's like sliced and cooked in the like packaged or, you know, in the deli meats, and you look at it and it says, oh, it's 23% meat. What? What's the rest of it then? How is it only 23% meat? I thought it was like chicken breast or turkey deli meat or chicken slices, right?
Chicken McNuggets.
Right. That's not even what part of the McNugget is a chicken.
Junk.
Right.
Which part of the wing is buffalo? All right. So we have soy protein, isolate, and other unfermented soy products.
Yeah, soy is a really hard molecule to break down and digest, and most people don't realize that. They think, oh, it's a plant protein, so it can't create inflammation. Well, soy products actually, first of all, soy is goitrogenic, so it shuts down thyroid function. So if anybody has low thyroid function, the soy is not their friend because it's going to shut down their thyroid function. But then also,
That's a good point.
Right? And then it's hard on the digestive system. It's hard to break down, so it contributes to inflammation and irritation in the intestinal tract. If you eat a lot of it, you're going to potentially develop some type of food sensitivity to it. And then if you look at how much is actually has pesticides on it, and then how it is utilized, if you don't ferment it, you're not cooking it or eating it in the traditional manner in which it was used. And so you don't get the health benefits that you would if you fermented it, because once you've fermented it, it's broken down. It's easier to digest. It's easier to get into the system. You can get the soy isoflavones that are actually beneficial to your body. But if you're not doing that, forget it.
Okay, non-organic potatoes and other fresh produce are known for high pesticide contamination.
Don't eat them.
Exactly. Have you seen that list, the Dirty Dozen? I love that list. I love that list. So you can Google it, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And so with respect to the Dirty Dozen, it's the foods that are the most highly sprayed and the foods that are most toxic. So, you know, in an ideal world, everybody should eat organic, farm fresh, local, in season. That's great. That's not available to everybody. And, you know, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's in Kentucky right now, and he was saying, like, when he goes into the grocery stores there, he's like, oh my gosh, they're trying to kill people with what's in here. Like honestly, he's like, wow, it's so different. And going from certain neighborhoods that are more affluent to certain neighborhoods that are less affluent, the amount of the types of vegetables, the amount of availability of fresh produce is just so markedly different. And so he's kind of, you know, we were really talking about that. And I would say the same is true with produce. Now, if you take a look at a potato, this is why you should never eat potatoes that are like white potatoes, purple potatoes, yellow potatoes anyways. They contain a chemical compound that for them is a natural pesticide. And so basically what happens is if it starts getting eaten by a bug, it increases the amount of this natural chemical. And that's why anything in the nightshade makes this natural, nightshade plant family makes this natural chemical. And it kills the bugs, but it also creates inflammation in our system. This is why your grandparents always said, oh, don't eat the green part of the potato, right? Because that's where if you cut open a potato and you see a little green part, right? Or you're eating a potato chip, like don't tell your naturopath, but if you were and you had a little green part, like don't eat that. Because that's that natural chemical that creates inflammation and pain in your body, and they make pain worse. But to have something that is any type of organic, plant-based material that has pesticides and sprays on it, you're going to get that into your body too, and that's going to put a stress on your liver. A lot of the pesticides, you know, over time can contribute to more inflammation in the system, more disease process, increases your risk of cancer.
The last one they have, number 9, is canned tomatoes.
Nope.
Absolutely not. I would say canned tomato, any type of tomato sauce, tomato paste. I've got so many patients who are like, oh, but I read my tomato sauce and my canned tomatoes and my tomato paste and there's no sugar in it. And I'm like, okay, let's think about this. If you take a tomato and you eat the whole fresh tomato, first of all, it's a nightshade. So if it's from the nightshade family. So if you have any type of arthritis or pain, you shouldn't really be eating that anyways, as much as they are lovely to eat, and I do love them. But again, nightshade. Probably if you have pain, stay away from them until the pain's gone. But with tomatoes, tomato paste or tomato sauce, you're going to concentrate the sugar. Like how many tomatoes does it take to make your tomato sauce, right? It takes a lot. So you get rid of the fiber, and you basically concentrate all the sugar, whether they add extra sugar or not, it's still pure sugar. I see so many people eating tomato products that, again, it creates inflammation, it creates havoc on your system, and then again, it causes weight gain for a lot of people, and it throws off a lot of diabetics' blood sugar.
Yeah, it also says that men should not eat tomatoes, period.
Yeah, which is interesting because, you know, so many people hear that, well, if I have cooked tomatoes, then what will happen is cooking the tomato actually releases the lycopene. It makes it more bioavailable. And lycopene is this carotenoid, so it's kind of similar to vitamin A. It's very similar to beta carotene, but it helps in terms of preventing prostate cancer and other types of cancer. So lycopene can be very, very healthy for the body. So you'd think that cooked tomatoes should be okay for men, but no, not necessarily.
Yeah, I've always heard recently to stay away from them. Okay, Dr. Johnathan goes on to say, Although it's important to know which of the worst foods to avoid, it's never a good idea to constantly be fixated on what you can't eat. Once you understand the foods to avoid, keep a mental note up in the back of your head. All right, so I want to scroll down a little bit and just go through some of the highlights of what we talked about here, what we just shared. So he has a caption here of some salads, with some raspberries on it. It says the food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison.
Agreed.
We scroll down and we talk about the health benefit of sea salt. Sea salt provides the minerals and electrolytes, improves the fluid balance in the body, supports energy production, improves mental health, and supports memory and speed of thought. Olive oil, about extra virgin olive oil. It's the healthiest option with a broad range of flavors, much like wine. That'll make a few people happy. Uses, sauteing, grilling, roasting, baking, pan frying, drizzling, dipping, dressings, and marinades. And the smoke point range, 350 to 410 Fahrenheit. For all you extra people that have been watching Rachel Ray for so long. I love it. And it says heat, air, and light. So store olive oil away from the major heat sources like the stove or oven. Always store olive oil in a bottle with a cap or seal, as the air exposure can affect taste. Light, store olive oil away from windows and fluorescent lighting. And they've got some nice myths and facts about coconut oil, which is really good.
Nice.
Okay. Let's scroll down.
Well, coconut oil is one of the ones that I think there's a lot of myths out there about that one, and a lot of confusion because a lot of people.
Want to go through them?
Well, we can if you want.
Okay.
I'm up for anything. I'm an adventurous woman.
All right, so let's talk about the myths versus the facts. Myths: saturated fat leads to obesity, increased cholesterol levels, and risk of heart attack. It's sweet and not good for diabetes. Coconut oil irritates the skin. Coconut oil is thick and not easily absorbed. Coconut oil goes rancid very easily. Tastes bad. Saturated fats from coconut oil are bad for the brain health. That's the myths. Let's talk about the facts, and then I'll turn it over to you, Doc. The medium chain fats in coconut oil help to improve metabolism and fat burning. It increases good cholesterol levels, which cleans and blockages in arteries. It helps control diabetes and reduces risk of developing diabetes. It soothes skin, nourishes the skin microbiome, and helps to heal wounds. It is thin, not sticky, not greasy, and is readily absorbed in the body. It's a stable oil and does not go rancid for years. I can tell you that. I've had some of them right here for 20 years when I used to bring the stuff in from the islands. Likes and dislikes are very personal and different from person to person. Lastly, studies have shown that the coconut oil consumption helps to balance blood sugar and increases quinone production, which reduces inflammation in the brain and helps improve mental performance. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that I think the most common myth is around saturated fats contributing to cardiovascular disease. And so, we've known for some time now that that's just not true. That some of the original studies that were done kind of saying that that fat contributed to cardiovascular disease, that the researcher actually was paid by the cereal companies to basically say, yeah, it was. They were basically paid off to say, oh, yeah, fat's the cause of cardiovascular disease. So there was this study where this guy, it was the big one that kind of sparked this, oh, yeah, fat is bad for you. And he kind of took a look at all of these different countries and looked at the risk of cardiovascular disease. And he was saying, oh, the countries that consume the highest amount of fat have the highest amount of cardiovascular disease. Yeah, totally paid off. And you can actually Google this, and it's well documented and proven. But he took out countries like France, for example, that have a very high fat diet and very low risk of cardiovascular disease, or who did at that time. I don't know what the risk is right now. It's pretty stressful over there, so who knows. So we started to vilify and demonize saturated fats. And we said, like, oh, saturated fats cause cardiovascular disease. So when we take a look at coconut oil is plant-based, but it's a saturated fat. So we thought, oh, well, this must be bad for us. And what we find is that's not true at all. There are a lot of studies showing that it's very healthy for the brain, helps prevent Alzheimer's and senile dementia. It's got wonderful antibacterial properties. And as you said, the medium chain triglycerides that are in it, that's the MCT oil, actually bypasses the intestinal tract. It can be absorbed right through the stomach. It bypasses the liver and can be really healthy for helping not only with mental health, clarity, and focus, but also, as you said, for diabetes, for helping to lower blood sugar levels. Now, this is if you have a healthy diet and don't eat a ton of sugar, microwave popcorn, vegetable oil, and tomato sauce, right? Like you don't go and mix it with a ton of sugar and then go, look at me, I'm healthy. No.
All right. So here's a very interesting box that he has, and I'm going to go through them and share. We can speak about it. He says GMOs. Okay. Rice. GMO rice has been approved, but it's not being used commercially. Hawaiian papaya. Most Hawaiian papaya GMO, even many organic crops contained. Crops are contained, okay? Then he says, more than 70% of the corn grown in the United States has been genetically engineered. Granola oil, he says 87% of the canola grown commercially, I think it says an 80% wild granola is GMO. That's interesting. Sugar beets. 90% of the sugar beets used to make 50% of our sugar are GMO. Summer squash. Farmers don't like GMO squash, but some experts say GMO squash have blended with wild squash. Soy. More than 93% of the soybeans the United States produces are genetically modified. Wheat. Unapproved GMO has contaminated wheat fields, and we don't yet know the exact extent of it. That's scary. Yeah. Tomato. Tomatoes have been genetically modified, but they are not being grown commercially at this time. Salmon. GMO salmon has not been approved by the FDA, but it will be very soon. Peas. Peas have been genetically modified, but are not approved or available. Yeast, GMO yeast for wine has been approved. Alfalfa, GMO alfalfa containing non-GMO alfalfa crops are a rapid rate. Last, cotton. At least half of the cotton grown in the world is GMO. So he shared some of the GMOs there. And this is very interesting to me. Because it seems like what they're saying is it doesn't really matter if it's approved or not, it's being used.
Yep.
Okay. U.S. wellness meats, the grass-fed is always greener. Beef's nutritional leisure. Added hormones, grain-fed beef usually, grass-fed beef, no. Fed antibiotics, grain-fed beef, usually, grass-fed beef, no. Omega-3 fatty acids, 0.10, 1.22 in the grass-fed. CLA, don't know what that is. Beta-carotene.
Conjugated linoleic acid. It's
okay,
a type of
versus 1.46. Go ahead.
Wait, that's important for people to know. They need to hear that one. CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, helps you lose visceral fat. So you can eat that it's a type of fat that helps you lose fat. It's good stuff.
Okay, we got 1.46 in the grass-fed.
Yeah, absolutely. And grass-fed butter. Very high in it. So good.
Beta-carotene, 41.00 versus 87.00 for grass-fed. Vitamin E and vitamin A, 1.30 for the grain-fed, 10 for the vitamin A, 5.30 and 52 for the grass-fed. So we got a higher vitamin A. Total fat, high and saturated in the grain-fed, perfect balance in the grass-fed. Flavor, bland and pasty versus original and bold. All other factor, fair versus perfect. E. coli risk, present in the grain-fed and is not likely in the grass-fed. Woo! Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay, know what you're buying, conventionally grown, organic, or GMO. Organic versus conventional.
One of the things that I think would be interesting to talk about from that perspective too, what a lot of people don't know and don't realize is that canola oil isn't real. Most people don't know that. Like they think, because it is made up. Science made it. There is no type of quote unquote canola plant that existed in nature before scientists got a hold of it. It was actually rapeseed. So R-A-P-E. So not grapeseed, rapeseed. And the rapeseed plant, grows so well in the prairie provinces of Canada. And is great for our cattle. Our cows love it and can do so well with it. So scientists in our government kind of said, well, we've got this whole big crop. What do we do with it other than feed it to our cattle? Because the oil had, from rapeseed, and again, that's R-A-P-E, that's rapeseed, not grapeseed. That's a different type of oil. But this type of oil is toxic to humans. So scientists kind of said, well, let's actually see if we can genetically manipulate manipulate this plant so that it doesn't produce that oil. And that's what they did. And then because it was Canadian scientists who came up with this, they called it can oil because the can stands for Canada.
All right. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the bad foods. We're going to get into the good foods right after our break here. This is the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. Our call-in number is 310-928-7733. Once again, 310-928-7733. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Detox Jenny here. Is your digestion poor, painful, or just plain stuck? If so, please consider doing a short 3 to 10 day juice cleanse with my company, Earthly Juices. You can visit us at bringmejuice.com. You will be surprised what a difference a short cleanse can make within your body and your overall well-being. Our organic farm-to-table juice cleanses are handcrafted to exclude your allergies and geared towards solving your health issues. Call 310-404-6804 and mention this show and receive a free quart of juice with your first order. You can also find us at www.bringmejuice.com. Or you could write us your detox questions at earthlyjuices@gmail.com. We can't wait to bring that juice to your doorstep.
I tell myself again and again, I'm happy about my favorite juice from gin. I tell myself again and again, well, Earthly Juices, they make the best juice cleanse.
Hi, this is Dr. Nathan Rabb Jr., host of The Natural Way, which you can hear live on InnerLightRadio.com every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On The Natural Way, you will learn about alternative strategies to common medical practices to overcome some of the most common physical and mental maladies in the world today. The program is a live call-in show, so you can engage me by calling 310-928-7733 with your health-related questions. For private consultations, please call my office. That's at 310-419-4372. You can also reach me on the web at drdrnathan, Nathan, Rabb, Rabb.com. Be sure to tune in to The Natural Way
every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, live on InnerLightRadio.com. The Healing Frequency. I'm Dr. Nathan Rabb. We see you on the air. Peace.
Historically, our ancestors lived 100% organic and natural, simply grazing off the green earth with fresh fruits and vegetables and blue oceans filled with seafood. Allowing your mind, body, and soul to be naturally healthy is how we were meant to live during this journey of our lives. We invite you to visit The Lifestyle Store. Once again, The Lifestyle Store, for all of your family's health and wellness needs. Simply click on The Lifestyle Store at www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, www.createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Keep this in mind. Health is the new wealth.
All right, so let's get into some good parts of what we should be eating. Okay, so he talks about following a healing diet. Okay, sometimes the most daunting thing about beginning a new way of eating is becoming fixated on what the worst foods are you can no longer eat. So after you get the general idea of the most important or worst foods to avoid, it's best to focus in on the key guidelines for the foods you should eat. A healing diet focuses on the style of eating and stabilizes blood sugar, dramatically lowers inflammation, reduces exposure to environment toxins, and floods the body with nutrition on a daily basis. Okay, 3 steps to a healing diet. Reduce the sugar and grains, get rid of bad fat and add more good fat, and then change the meat you eat. Okay, good fat, butter, tallow, ghee, coconut milk, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, fish oil, eggs. Bad fat, granola, soybean, sunflower oil, corn oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, margarine, cottonseed oil, peanut oil. 5 benefits of a healing diet: reduces the inflammation, stabilizes blood sugar, reduces toxic load, provides foundation nutrients, and it supports the body's healthy blood pH. That's if you change the meat you eat. Feedback on that, Doc?
Which doc?
Oh, Doc Rabb, sorry.
Doctor.
Yeah. Run that by me again.
We were talking about the change. When you change the meat you eat, it definitely, if you eat the right meat, he's talking about reducing inflammation, stabilizing blood sugar, reduces toxic load, provides foundational nutrients, and support healthy blood pH. And we're talking about good and bad fat. So I ran down a list there. A lot of people know that avocado is good fat. Some people don't even know that's a fat, Yeah,
I love avocados. But when it comes to meat, since I don't partake of it anymore, I grew up on a farm in Carolina years and years and years ago, and we raised animals, but they were farm raised. They never saw any kind of fake stuff that's going into their bodies. And my father lived to be 95, and my mother lived to be 90. So, they stayed, and they were folks that worked hard and had a bunch of children. It was 10 of us. Yeah, something like that. And so I grew up like that, but then leaving home, going to school, and then going into the military, they were on those ships, because I was in the Navy. On the ship, they would haul out big cargo ships out there and unload. They call it stores. Unload all day, all kinds of stuff, and we ate it. And I ate that way up until I was 36. That's when I started studying natural medicine, and it changed my whole life. I don't eat meat per se. I don't talk about everybody who does. That's their business if they want to eat it. I just lost the knack for it, and I don't do it. And I do a lot of leafy greens. I do fruits. I do nuts. I do things like that.
When you say you don't eat meat, people always go, "Where do you get your protein from then?" You know?
Right.
I love that one.
Well, that's, people say all kinds of things because they really haven't studied anything. They just say it.
Yeah.
But,
My dad used to say that, and it was so funny. I'd go, "What do you eat for breakfast, Dad?" He's like, "Well, cereal." I'm like, "Okay, where's the protein?"
That's the first thing they come back with. That's just the first thing they say always. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not anti. People eat what they want to eat. With me, I'm approaching my next birthday. I'll be 80 years young, so I don't. I'm trying to stay around a bit longer. But I do a lot of things. I do a lot of plant-based foods, and I do some nuts and seeds and things like that. I love avocados and cherimoyas and various fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm on the right track.
All right, Doc, give us your closing thoughts and your tips for this show, and then we'll move over to Dr. Frank for the same question.
Is that for me?
Yeah, for you first, and then Dr. Frank.
Now, run it again by me again, because
give us your closing thoughts and some tips you'd like to share.
Closing thoughts would be, for anyone who's, but most of these folks are already doing what they need to do. But that's what I would, say to anyone, that if you're going through any type of maladies, the thing to do first is to start with a good cleanse of the body. And there are people who come here to my facility, and right away they'll go to the shelf and they see a program there, and they look, well, I just want this one. I said, well, I thought you had a problem that you were trying to correct. If you have a problem, these products will help you to get your body back into proper balance. And, they'll look at you. And there are those who come in and they don't argue with it because they have problems and they're trying to get better. And they do it. And then those who follow up, they get great results. But not everyone will do that. Some will start and put it down, and they may not touch it again for the next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Dr. Frank, your closing thoughts and tips.
I've got a lot of tips that are out there. The first one is, A, don't do it alone. B, I love what Dr. Jocker says about concentrate on what you can eat and make it fun. The worst thing that you can do is start looking at changing your foods and thinking like, oh, I can't eat this ever again. Or, my favorite thing to do is kind of say, how do I find healthier versions of the cheap foods that I love? So I have found a way, I think I've mentioned this before, to make healthy chocolate or healthy, quote unquote, Reese's peanut butter cups using pumpkin seed butter, right? So you can find the things that you love, the salty foods or the sweet foods, and you can learn to make them in a way that is healthy for your body so that you can have them as your treat so you don't feel deprived. Continue to feed your body, fuel your body, and focus on like what is going to make me feel good. And you don't have to do it all at once. So you can start by kind of saying, okay, here's the dirty dozen. Let's take them out. Oh, these are the foods on Dr. Jocker's list that, aren't real. And that's actually what I'd start with. Step number 1, eat food, not junk. Eat real food. If you actually could just eat real food, you'd be fine.
Okay. Well, I think that with anything else in life, we have to stay consistent. So it's going to be a journey. You can't look at it negatively. You have to tell your mind and your body that this is the new you, so it doesn't fight you. Otherwise, it will fight you. It'll start storing up things. Oh, I got to lose weight. It'll start storing everything up. So your body's got to understand that this is a new lifestyle so that it can go and work in harmony. Otherwise, your body may resist against you. We don't want that. So your thought energy is very important through the transitions of what your new choices are, or quote unquote, the new healthy you. And while you're on this journey, just try to stay consistent as you can. You may slip up, but guess what? Nobody's watching. No one's going to go and hammer you over the head for it. No one will even know except yourself. So it's very important that you stay true to yourself, because outside influence can ruin your health and ruin your life. We all know that. Probably a lot of people learned a lot about themselves during the pandemic because they had to spend more time with themselves. So this is a way for you to go through and understand who you are. And I think that there's enough poison out there that people can start making better choices. I don't know if it'll be the right choice for you, but better choices.
Yep. I love that. And I agree. I think this pandemic has, of course there have been awful and horrific things that have happened to people during it. And, for everybody who has become sick or who has had loved ones who have been negatively affected or passed away, my heart and prayer goes out to all of you. But I think the part of the silver lining is that a lot of people are recognizing, like, hey, I've got to start taking care of my health. I've got to make sure that I take responsibility. I can't depend on the government to do it for me or other people to do it for me. And the lifestyle, that go lifestyle where I'm not thinking about anything, I'm just on that hamster wheel, that's got to stop. It's time to start living and loving.
I think the theme song for that pandemic for last year and the year before should be none other than Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
I thought you were going to say Thriller.
Thriller. Because when he says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror and I'm asking him to change his ways, I just think that's so appropriate. Yeah. That's what it's going to take. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and then make the change.
Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world.
I know that's right. This has been a great show. Dr. Frank, Dr. Rabb, it's been a pleasure. We're going to go through some more of these Dr. Jocker pieces. I think they're helpful. I think it's, we go through them pretty thoroughly, and we try to cover things that he's talking about. I try to quote him. I said to Dr. Jocker, so it's not my ideas when we were talking. I think the feedback that the doctors give here, and let's just keep up the good work for 2022 and see if we can't get out here and help some more people.
I think I'm going to say to our audience, okay, let's kind of see if we can get Dr. Jockers on this show. So everybody write into Dr. Jockers, say how much we love him and how he should be a guest on this show. Let's get him on the show.
All right. I'll work on that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that, hopefully it won't be too hard. We got Johnathan Landsman, too, we'll get on. He does a lot of things. I think I've sent you some of his stuff. naturalnews365.com. He does a lot of great stuff. I like him. Brings a lot of good people on and covers a lot of topics. Nice. You guys get out there and have yourself a great week. And remember, help somebody, love somebody. Because guess what? You might be the only one. Take care.
Peace and love.
Thank you for joining us on the Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. We are a globally hosted show dedicated to sharing holistic lifestyle events, practitioners, products and services, and useful information. Visit our website, createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Once again, createyourholisticlifestyle.com. Of course, our Facebook page is Create Your Holistic Lifestyle Show. We will see you next week.
Namaste.
Get yourself together.